welcome to the CyberBytes podcast. Today we have Nadir Izrael, CTO and co-founder of Armis. How have you been, Nadir?
I'm good. Thanks for having me here.
Good, good. And how are things? I know we're very quickly off of BlackHat, so how was that week for you guys?
It was amazing. I think that the turnout of folks there was amazing. It's great to meet customers, partners, kind of everyone who works with us. We were very, I think, prominent within the Black Hat environment and had a lot of really good meetings. And plus, Vegas is somehow the vibe of meetings can always be with a drink. So, it's always fun to catch up with folks.
Brilliant. And look, that week you announced something massive for the business, 200 million ARR surpassed. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it's definitely been a journey. I think that Armis doubled its revenue from 100 million to 200 million in just under 18 months, which is a phenomenal achievement from the amazing people that work at this company. I can't really take credit as much as just the wonderful people that work there and all of our customers and partners who truly believe in us and make this happen. It is a tremendous milestone, but it's a milestone on the road to create something truly big and incredible here. So definitely a great event, and lots of folks congratulated on it.
Brilliant, cool. And look, take us back. What with all our guests, we always sort of run it back to the start. So, how did you get into the industry, and what really gave you these founding ideas of setting up Armis?
Yeah, well, I always say that I have the most cliche Israeli cybersecurity background there is. I spent some time in Unit 8200, which is kind of like the Israel's version of the NSA. I worked for Google. I studied computer science and physics, and just about 9 years ago, I joined forces with my co-founder Yevgeny, and we kind of got into this whole notion of, okay, how do we build something truly big and good within the cybersecurity realm? Both of us, that's our background, and I think that we started off at the time by doing something that at the time was considered novel. We asked people, we asked CISOs, we asked CIOs what's missing in their lives. We didn't sit in a garage and kind of think about a cool idea. We just basically asked folks what do they think is missing in their lives. And I remember even back then, even this is like 2015, 2016, we got a very similar pain point from no matter who we asked. It didn't matter what kind of company we're talking about. They were all they all expressed this pain of, I don't know what I have. I don't know the basics of my environment. I don't know how many laptops and servers I have, and I definitely don't know how many special types of assets and devices out there I have. If I'm a hospital, ironically, I don't even know how many infusion pumps or how many things I have, let alone what do I need to know about them? What inherent risks or what vulnerabilities or things are out there? And when we started with solving that. It evolved, obviously, and there's a lot more that we do today. But that pain point of what do I have still leads us to this day in how we model assets, attack surfaces, risk, and everything in between.
Brilliant. And over that sort of evolving of the business, and like you say, you started to where you were to then come to where you are today. What's been the biggest sort of challenge evolving a business to kind of get it to where it is today?
Well, there's no shortage of challenges. I think that in general, building a business that isn't a feature, but a platform and something big is always more difficult. I think that early on, and frankly, even today, is our biggest challenge. I think that it's much easier from a technology and product perspective, as well as from a market perspective, to build a feature or a singular product. It's easier to consolidate the understanding around it. It's easier to build one solution and kind of really drill into the final touches of everything versus trying to be something much bigger, trying to solve a bigger problem. I think that for us, the idea from the very beginning that if it's the same problem, then it's the same solution for everyone. Being able to build what I described before, as, on the one hand, kind of an asset inventory of everything, but on the other hand, a true risk modeling engine, a true attack surface management, and these days exposure management platform. No matter if you're a chocolate factory, or if you're a hospital, or if you're an airline, or if you're a tech company or a bank, these different environments, these different considerations, the ability to come full stack and give a full stack of different solutions has always been our biggest strength, but also our biggest challenge in being able to ultimately compete with point solutions, point tools out there that could do one thing really well versus us being or having to do a lot of things really well. And I think the core differentiator for us has always been the technology, the underlying technology that kind of pins everything together. But that is also, I think, one of the biggest challenges that we've had throughout our entire growth, but also our biggest advantage.
Brilliant. And in the last 12 months, I think you've bolstered a lot of your portfolio by actually acquiring a couple of companies. Could you tell us a little bit about those?
Absolutely. Well, if I describe before the kind of core problem that guides Armis as what do I have? Quickly, if you start really solving for that problem, you get two other problems. One is what is important, or how do I prioritize the things that you're showing me? And how do I do it intelligently and in context? In that category, we bought a company called CTCI, which is an early warning system and a prioritization mechanism based on threat intelligence. So the capacity to take a bunch of different risks, vulnerabilities, threats, and be able to prioritize or stack rank them and give you also early warning about things that are relevant for your environment. Then the second question on top of that is, okay, I get it. You're showing me a bunch of stuff. You're showing me what's important. Now, what do I do about it? How do I fix it? And in that category of managing end-to-end the remediation, the workflows, everything going on there, we've acquired a company called Silk Security. It actually matched up with a lot of things that we've already built internally as well. And we kind of put these together into what we call Viper. And that is an end-to-end remediation management platform. It takes everything that you've found with Armis and with other tools and just finds the right owner, opens tickets, manages the entire process, pulls it back through, and makes sure that you as an organization can now start measuring yourself on how much risk you've reduced and not just how much stuff that you've found in the environment.
Brilliant. And look, you guys as a core business focus a lot on sort of OT security or in the medical side of things. How sort of critical is that to one, go and acquire different companies to bolster your I suppose portfolio, but then also sticking to the roots of right, we focus on this and we always need to evolve in OT security.
So our rule, and we've really stuck by it throughout the entire time, is focus on solutions, not just on platforms of products. So
Mhm.
when you're a customer, you're trying to solve a problem, you're trying to solve as much of it as possible, but ultimately you don't care about platforms as much as you care about solving the problem you came out to. If we solve it really well, you might be interested in other solutions, but ultimately it's about solving the problem. So to us, the strategy has always been the platform is in service of the solutions and not the other way around. When we acquire companies, when we bring them into the fold, when we build our own products, all of them need to work together to solve a certain problem. So to your point, when we think about the world of OT security, we don't think of it as one aspect of the entire platform. We think of the whole platform in service of OT. And we've been able to really push the limits on what that means. If you have other OT security vendors out there that do maybe protocol analysis really well or do certain aspects, that's great. And we do too. But with Armis, you get the full power of the entire platform. You get the remediation management. You get the threat intelligence. You get the ability to do different forms of deception. You do all of these things. They're all part of a platform that is OT focused. And by not losing sight of that, we're constantly innovating in each of our different respective fields and giving a holistic solution to anyone who needs it on kind of multiple different paradigms.
Perfect. And what do you see as the biggest threat to businesses like yourselves?
Honestly, I think that the biggest problem for Armis, or the biggest challenge for Armis, isn't competition. It's not external market. It's not anything external. It's completely internal. We are a company that's ultimately growing past, the startup phase and into
Yeah.
more of a company phase. Everything that can break under the pressure of scale will break, and we need to be in front of that. So what keeps me up at night isn't anything external. It is entirely our ability to scale, our ability to build the company to support all the wonderful customers out there and all the companies that put their faith in us. Make sure that we keep up with high standards of design, high standards of development, and being able to service and provide all of that to all of our customers and do it in a way that scales really well. The markets out there have shifted quite a bit over the last couple of years, as we all know, into how they value companies. It's no longer just kind of growth at all costs. It's also how to do it efficiently and effectively. And we're big believers in those concepts, but I would say that those are the most challenging aspects of everything. We are we've last year for the first time crossed that threshold of, or kind of going up and down now, but crossed the threshold of being cash flow positive, and we're very much about how do we create a sustained, long-term, cash efficient and cost-effective company that can also scale with all of those different customers that we have.
Brilliant. And what are the longer term goals for you guys at Armis?
So long-term goals here are to build not just a company that's able to grow and do it efficiently, but also become a public company. I think that
Cool.
our goal here is to graduate to become a mature public company within the cybersecurity space, one that can take on the enormous challenge of building a cyber exposure platform that can a cyber exposure management platform that can really take on that whole how do I proactively manage risk aspect of things, and do it as a mature public company. I think we're well on our way to get there, but it's definitely a big challenge when the bar is very high these days, when companies are under a lot of scrutiny. But I think that we have a very, very healthy, good business to get there, and a lot of very, very happy customers that we're proud to call our own and to serve them. And that's kind of where we're taking this.
Brilliant. And I think one big challenge in cybersecurity nowadays, and I know one thing you're quite passionate about, is AI. How is Armis like leveraging AI at the moment?
So in many, many different ways, we've been a company that has adopted AI from the very beginning, but definitely since the kind of Gen AI and LLM revolution, we've been doing quite a bit. We've been doing quite a bit in augmenting the experience of how customers use our products. I think that the biggest change is that instead of being an expert on how to dissect data within a platform as rich as Armis, and instead of trying to figure out how to do what you need to do, LLMs and Gen AI offer the ability to not just do all that work for you and extract the relevant information, but also be able to tie into a greater degree of automation and being able to suggest courses of actions and even take them for you. We're on the forefront of incorporating those approaches into everything that we do, and augmenting or supercharging really the work of security teams around the world and how they approach the problem in the first place. We're also very cognizant of the fact that in the future, and maybe even the near future, there's going to be two types of companies. There's either companies that have embraced fully AI in every realm of what they can do, and there are going to be companies that just don't exist anymore. And I think that a lot of companies talk about it. We're walking the walk and doing a lot of that. And we're doing it also because we see the bad guys. We see attackers leverage AI more and more and how they do the things that they do. So we have to be, as an industry and also as Armis as a company, on par with those things and make sure that we're sufficiently taking advantage of the benefits and also countering some of those different advantages that attackers have now.
Brilliant. And I know a lot of security was very much reactive or has been sort of reactive for a long time. Do you think a proactive stance is now needed? And if so, why?
Absolutely, yes. I think that for the longest time, for just about a decade, the industry as a whole, cybersecurity teams as a whole, were in love with this idea of detection and response. The whole spiel was, you need to assume that you've already been breached and just be able to put detectors everywhere and respond in kind when attackers are there. Now, I'm not knocking the concept. That's an important concept in security, but it can't be the end all be all. And I think a lot of organizations over the last few years have found that out the hard way. Attacks are on the rise. They're not on the decline. We're seeing more and more brazen attacks out there that cost businesses millions in ransomware and billions in cleaning up the mess after the fact. And I think that people over the last couple of years have been pivoting quite aggressively towards, okay, it needs to be a balance between, yes, detection and response, but also proactive risk management. And Armis is absolutely the platform for the latter. And in doing this, being able to do this intelligently is not only a more cost-effective method, it's frankly a more effective method. Almost every time you see a breach, you see that the entrance in could have been stopped with very simple means, a simple vulnerability, a simple patch, a simple mechanism that could have mitigated that. Armis's job is in finding and prioritizing these things and then taking care of them for you, which is significantly cheaper than having to deal in real time with an attacker that is very sophisticated, usually taking advantage of all of these weaknesses all at once.
Brilliant. And look, you guys you're a leading platform, you're a leading company. Like you say, you've gone through 2 acquisitions this year. Of course, everybody knows that there is plenty of startups coming out there and trying to do what you guys do and seeing if they can kind of better that. How are you guys as a business still staying innovative and still developing to be ahead of that trend?
I think it's first and foremost a DNA and culture perspective within the company. Once a company becomes not hungry anymore, that's when that stagnation and decline happens. If a company remains hungry, it can be very big even and still be able to go toe to toe with other companies and be able to keep on moving forward. So I think, first of all, as a business DNA, remain hungry, remain in search of new things that you can do, new value that you can provide your customers and partners, and move from there. The second thing is, it sounds very trivial, but very, very important, and it's hard to get right despite how trivial it sounds, is listen. I think listening to customers, listening to partners, listening inside too, allowing for innovation to come from everywhere, not just top down or anything like that, is an incredibly important piece of this as well. We pride ourselves on the fact that our most brilliant ideas, both for development or acquisition or customers or anything like that, didn't come from us. They came from employees, they came from developers, from salespeople, from marketing, they came from our customers, they came from our partners. And listening to all of these and being able to truly assimilate that information, be able to challenge your own paradigms as to how things go, are another critical element. And I'd say lastly, it is, I wouldn't say keeping in your swim lane because companies want to grow, but know what you do well, know what you do exceptionally within your environment, and build value around that. Don't try to be the cybersecurity company of everything, but really focus on your core competence and build around that. For us, it is, and I think always will be, assets and understanding the basic building blocks of an organization and building everything around that. We can solve risk management and vulnerability management problems, but they are centered around that core of being able to understand your environment. Same goes for a lot of other things that we do. And if you do that really well, you can truly expand and build many different things that would be hard for competitors to replicate because you have that core competence that you go after.
Brilliant. And look, you've mentioned there that you purely focus on wanting to be the best at what you do. For yourselves, what is the biggest focus for, say, the next 12 months in building this brand even more?
I think for us, it's understanding that it's not just about the data that you collect and the individual problems that you can solve with that data. It's about building comprehensive end-to-end workflows for different teams on top of that data. So, for example, if we take vulnerability management teams, it's not just about, let me tell you what all your assets and all your vulnerabilities are. It's about prioritizing all these things and also managing the remediation end to end so that you can live and breathe Armis and solve all of the things that you need to solve based on the very unique and very valuable data that Armis can collect. Same goes for other areas as well. I think for us, the biggest focus for the next 12 months is first of all, shoring up these different capabilities, but also building that into other worlds that we can solve very easily for. Compliance, attack surface management, overarching themes of risk management and things around that. There are so many different areas that we can solve for based on the information we have, but we want to be able to give that end-to-end workflow component that can really solve the problem A to Z. Kind of going back to that comment I mentioned before, where the platform is in service of solutions, not the other way around. And customers want to solve problems. They have a problem they want to solve, and that's what we need to be laser focused on for more and more different use cases and customers.
Brilliant. And most recently, you guys have been named as one of the fastest growing companies in America. So how critical is it, like you say, hiring the right people, making sure they know your mission and are on board with it?
Very. It's one of the toughest things when you grow a business, to make sure that the bar doesn't go lower and that you're not compromising on who the people are. I like to tell people every time I speak to someone who I'm interviewing or a new employee, I'm going to tell you brutal honesty, good, bad, ugly. Armis, you need to love everything about it. You need to love the tough and challenging parts too. Or first of all, you're not going to survive. And secondly, you're just not going to have fun doing what we do. Armis is not a complete company that you just need to come in and just, take your seat. It's still a company that's being built with all of the challenges and all of the trouble that comes with that. And you need to love that phase. You need to really love pushing yourself to the limit and pushing Armis as a result to its limit. And I think that there's two types of people, really. There are people who hear that and get excited, and there are people who hear that and want to run the other direction and take something that's easier and maybe more chill. Armis isn't a chill company. It's a company that goes and executes. It's a hungry company, and we are definitely looking for the people who not only appreciate that but get excited by that.
Absolutely. And look, you're a business that works in many countries and also a lot of different verticals with quite a big focus on like healthcare areas. You mentioned very early on that was kind of the core side of the business. So is that an area that you still develop? Like you say, I know COVID was a number of years ago, but is that still like a top priority for the business in protecting those areas?
Absolutely. I think healthcare as an industry is huge. I think that it has very unique challenges that Armis solves for very effectively. Going back to that comment about the platform and service of solutions, our healthcare solution is second to none. It's not just about being able to discover all the problems or detect all the different kind of assets and devices that you have. It's about solving problems and giving you an end-to-end way of doing that, even as you collaborate with the different teams in there. Now, it's no secret that hospitals, clinics, healthcare industry in general is going through a lot. I think in its race to digitize everything, which is a really good thing, it's also opened the door to a lot of attacks and a lot of ransomware. It's also a very lucrative business to try and ransomware. So unfortunately, it's a very, very clear target for attackers. We're there to solve for that. We're there to protect these different hospitals and environments. It's a huge core piece of our business, and we're very proud of that business. We're proud to call some of the biggest hospital networks in the world our customers, but also those small town hospitals out there that don't have a staggering budget or anything like that, and they need the best tool possible to be able to come in and nimbly solve their problems. That's us.
Brilliant, cool. And look, I know we're getting towards the end of this, so I'd love to wrap it up with what one piece of advice would you give me and the listeners to, like you say, make sure we're doing everything correctly?
I will tell you that cybersecurity has this thing where we try to make everything sound cool, and you need the edgiest technology and all that stuff. But really, true security is not having the vulnerability or the problem in the first place. It's the boring basics, as I call them: patching, vulnerability management, the boring basics. Accurate asset inventory of everything that you have. Even if you're a small, shop, just being able to account for what you have, what's running there, and go off a prioritized list of what you need to solve, hands down, the most effective methodology for, again, you don't need to be the most secure 100% thing out there. You just need to be more secure than comparable targets. It's kind of like that joke of you don't need to be faster than the bear. You need to be faster than the slowest person running from the bear. And I think that that tip actually goes a long way. If you're a small business, if you're a big business, it doesn't matter. Those boring basics are what's going to save you. And I think that our focus as a company too is in how do we help you do those boring basics in that much more efficient and effective way possible, because we truly believe that real actual security is not having the vulnerability or the problem in the first place.
Brilliant. Cool. Well, look, I think that's an excellent note to end it on, and I appreciate you joining me, Nadir, and love chatting to you and hearing the story on Armis.
Absolutely. Really appreciate you bringing me on.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to this very special Black Hat 2024 edition of CyberBytes, the podcast. If you did, please like, subscribe, and share with your colleagues and friends. We are always looking for new guests to feature on CyberBytes. If you would like to, please reach out. Furthermore, if you are a candidate looking for your next role, technical or go-to-market, then please reach out directly or via our company email info@asperonsearch.com.